In Sister Act 2, a group of troubled students find hope in music. But when the singing fades, real life takes a much darker turn. A beloved nun dies just 2 years later after an operation. Another teen star has vanished from Hollywood despite worldwide fame, and a singer you might remember has earned millions without ever returning to the spotlight. What really happened? Tune in as we reveal their real names and ages and pay tribute to their legacy. Lauryn Hill as Rita Louise Watson. Lauryn Hill was born on May 26, 1975, in South Orange, New Jersey. She was 18 years old when she took on the role of the rebellious but talented high school student Rita Louise Watson in The Habit, 1993, whose voice became one of the emotional highlights of the film Sister Act 2. That same year, she made her official debut in a major Hollywood film project. The success of Sister Act 2 opened many opportunities for Lauryn Hill, but it also thrust her into the spotlight of intense scrutiny, which soon began to affect her personal life. Her long and complicated relationship with Rohan Marley, with whom she had 5 children, was constantly strained by tension, media attention, and the pressure of raising children while also coping with worldwide fame. As her career with the Fugees and later with the album Miseducation of Lauryn Hill reached its peak, the pressure of expectations began to undermine her stability, transforming success from a refuge into a source of psychological strain. The marriage never materialized, but the strain of family obligations and exploitation in the music industry severely impacted her mental health. Lauryn spoke openly about feeling controlled by the music industry and emotionally drained. The stress manifested in canceled tours, sporadic performances, and extended periods of withdrawal from the public eye. Despite winning 8 Grammys and redefining hip-hop and neo-soul, her inner turmoil outweighed her successes, culminating in a high-profile tax lawsuit in 2013 that revealed years of financial and emotional instability. Lauryn Hill is 50 years old today and still lives largely according to her own wishes. She performs only sporadically, occasionally collaborates with other artists, and focuses on creative freedom rather than commercial success. Her estimated net worth of around $10 million now comes primarily from music rights and rare live performances. This reflects a career driven not by ambition, but by survival, her own limitations, and a hard-won inner peace. Robert Pastorelli as Joey Bustamante. Robert Pastorelli was born on June 21, 1954, in New Brunswick, New Jersey. At the age of 39, he played Joey Bustamante, a supporting role that stood in stark contrast to his more famous comedic role in Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, 1993. That year marked a turning point in his television career. Behind the humor that made him so popular in his role as Eldon in Murphy Brown lay Pastorelli's private life, marked by persistent mental anguish and addiction. His relationships were turbulent, strained by his long-term heroin addiction and repeated bouts of withdrawal and relapse. Although he gained professional recognition through films like Dances with Wolves, the instability in his personal life gradually undermined both his marriage prospects and his ability to achieve long-term success. The darkest chapter came in 1999 when his girlfriend, Chairman Janovich, died of gunshot wounds in their shared home. Although her death was ruled a suicide and he was never legally prosecuted, the investigation and public suspicion took a heavy toll on Pastorelli's mental health. This trauma exacerbated his addiction, further alienated him from Hollywood, and plunged him into feelings of guilt, grief, and self-destructive tendencies. Sadly, Robert Pastorelli died of a heroin overdose at his home in the Hollywood Hills on March 8, 2004, at the age of 49. His fortune was estimated at only a few $1 million at the time of his death, depleted by years of addiction and missed opportunities. He is buried in a mausoleum at St. Catherine's Cemetery in Seagirt, New Jersey, leaving behind a legacy of talent overshadowed by tragedy and a life that never truly freed him from his own trauma. Michael Jeter as Father Ignatius. Michael Jeter was born on August 26, 1952, in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. At the age of 41, in 1993, he played Father Ignatius in the film Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, a shy, reserved priest with a somewhat anxious sense of humor that contrasted sharply with the enthusiasm of the choir. By this time, he was already admired on Broadway and television, although his private life remained painfully public. Jeter never married, but his long-term relationship with Sean Blue became a crucial emotional anchor during his formative years. Their relationship developed quietly in an industry and an era that offered little protection to same-sex couples. While audiences laughed with him in Evening Shade and critics praised his sensitive performance in The Fisher King, Jeter still carried the constant fear of not being able to live a life he couldn't fully live openly. Illness only exacerbated this frailty. Jeter publicly revealed his HIV-positive status in the 190s, a time when the diagnosis was still heavily stigmatized and feared. This forced him to project strength while silently facing death. Even while working on his most moving film, The Green Mile, his health quietly deteriorated. Neurological complications and seizures became increasingly severe. Sadly, Michael Jeter passed away on March 30, 2003, at the age of 50, following an epileptic seizure at his home in the Hollywood Hills. His estimated net worth of approximately $2 million reflected a career built on dedication rather than ostentation. He was cremated, and his ashes were given to Sean Blue. Thus ended a life marked by uncertain love, threatened talent, and courage. Whoopi Goldberg as Dolores Van Cartier, Sister Mary Clarence. Whoopi Goldberg was born on November 13, 1955 in New York City. At the age of 38, Whoopi Goldberg portrayed Dolores Van Cartier, Sister Mary Clarence, the rebellious singer who rekindled faith through her music. In the second installment of the Sister Act series, the film Back to the Gods, 1993. This role solidified her position as the emotional driving force of the series and proved her status as an outstanding star with immense charisma. But behind the success, personal difficulties began to take hold in her life. Whoopi married Alvin Martin in 1973, but the relationship failed due to immaturity and emotional distance, leaving her to raise their daughter Alexandria alone. Her second marriage, to cinematographer David Klassen, ended painfully after professional pressures and resentment seeped into the relationship. Her third marriage, to union activist Lyle Trachtenberg, lasted less than a year, reinforcing her later statement that she had never felt truly secure or fulfilled in marriage. Health problems and addiction left even deeper wounds. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Whoopi Goldberg battled a severe drug addiction. She went through a period she later described as normal, yet active, which nearly destroyed her life before her big break. In her later years, she suffered from chronic sciatica, respiratory problems, and the long-term effects of smoking into adulthood. She endured daily pain while hosting the talk show The View and maintaining her public life under constant scrutiny. Today, at 70, Whoopi Goldberg carefully selects her work to protect her health and personal boundaries. With an estimated net worth of around $20 million, her current lifestyle reflects a struggle for survival rather than extravagance. Jennifer Love Hewitt as Margaret. Jennifer Love Hewitt was born on February 21, 1979, in Waco, Texas. At the age of 14, she played Margaret, a gentle choir singer who embodied the hope of youth in the film Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, 1993. Despite her brief appearance, this role paved the way for a series of successful films that would significantly shape her career. From then on, her private life became far more turbulent than her innocent on-screen image. After years of constant scrutiny of her relationships, the annulment of her engagement to actor Ross McCall in 2008 marked a profound emotional rift. And this at a time when her career was peaking thanks to films like Party of Five and I Know What You Did Last Summer. She later admitted that marriage often brings more pressure than security, exacerbated by the constant interference of the media. She only found stability years later, when she married Brian Hallisey in 2013 and started a family after long periods of emotional exhaustion and public pressure. The psychological strain of fame left its mark. Hewitt suffered from body shaming, anxiety, and constant stress, as her image was scrutinized in projects like Ghost Whisperer and The Client List. She struggled with physical stress, panic attacks, and later, serious health problems such as extreme exhaustion and postpartum complications, which forced her to repeatedly interrupt her Hollywood career just when she needed to move forward. Today, 46-year-old Jennifer Love Hewitt focuses on her family and continues to work on the television series 911. However, her estimated net worth of $22 million came at a high emotional price, one that few acknowledged during her early years of fame. Brad Sullivan as Father Thomas. Brad Sullivan was born on November 18, 1931 in Chicago, Illinois. At the age of 62, Brad Sullivan played Father Thomas in the film Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, 1993. a grumpy, strict priest whose quiet authority helped to balance the chaos around him. Although it was a supporting role, it reflected the serious masculinity that had characterized him since The Sting and Slapshot. From then on, he increasingly withdrew from acting. While audiences remember him as the brutal hitman in The Sting, 1973, and the vulgar henchman in Slapshot, 1977, his private life was quite different, quiet, withdrawn, and emotionally closed off. Living alone on Manhattan's Upper West Side, he filled the emotional void with work, repeatedly returning to demanding stage roles, such as Pablo Hummel in Basic Training and later in The Docks, as if discipline could replace friendship. In his final years, illness gradually claimed his livelihood. Liver cancer severely weakened the physical strength that had made him so captivating on screen in films like The Prince of Tides and All the President's Men. As the treatment took its toll, film offers dried up, and the actor, known for his extraordinary resilience, was confined to his house, forced to watch as the world around him shrank. Tragically, Brad Sullivan died of liver cancer on December 31, 2008, at the age of 77. His estimated fortune remains modest, reflecting a life devoted to his craft rather than fame. He died peacefully and will be remembered not for scandals or boasting, but for the depth and authenticity he brought to every role, even in his final moments fighting alone. 10. Maggie Smith as the Mother Superior. Maggie Smith was born on December 28, 1934, in Ilford, Essex, England. At the age of 59, in 1993, she portrayed the Mother Superior, a wise and morally strong woman in a convent, in the film Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. By this time, she was already an icon of the acting world, both admired and feared. Her private life was marked by persistent psychological stress. Smith married actor Robert Stevens. The turbulent marriage ended in divorce, leaving her to raise her two sons alone while relentlessly pursuing her career. She later found stability with playwright Beverly Cross, but this marriage, too, ended in quiet grief when he died in 1998, a loss that haunted her well into old age, as she continued to appear in films such as The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie and California Suite. These roles often demanded a strength that she had to feign rather than truly feel. Illness has repeatedly tested her strength. In 1988, Smith was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent chemotherapy while continuing to work, refusing to give up, even though the treatment completely exhausted her, both physically and mentally. Years later, further health problems worsened the situation, but she persevered and delivered outstanding performances in Downton Abbey and the Harry Potter series. Sadly, Maggie Smith passed away peacefully in a London hospital on September 27, 2024, at the age of 89. With an estimated net worth of $40 million, she left behind a legacy built on perseverance rather than complacency. Mary Wickes as Sister Mary Lazarus. Mary Wickes was born on June 13, 1910, in University City, Missouri. At the age of 83, she portrayed Sister Mary Lazarus in Sister Act 2, a sharp-witted, strict nun with the humor and wit typical of convent culture. In 1993, she reprised the role of the nun, reaffirming her masterful acting skills in portraying authoritarian, comic characters. This role is considered one of the highlights of her 6-decade-long career. Afterward, the focus of her work gradually shifted toward more introspective themes. Mary Wick remained unmarried and chose an independent life, but the emotional price was silence. Although she brought warmth and wit to classics like White Christmas and The Trouble with Angels, her life off-screen was characterized more by loneliness than friendship. Age and illness took their toll. In the last years of her life, Miss Wickes suffered from a series of health problems affecting her kidneys, lungs, and mobility. Each complication further restricted her activities. A fall in which she broke her hip necessitated surgery that her body could no longer withstand. Finally, Mary Wickes died on October 22, 1995, at the age of 85, from complications following hip surgery in Los Angeles. Her estimated net worth of around $2 million consists largely of inheritances rather than luxury spending, including a substantial education inheritance named after her parents. James Coburn as Mr. Crisp. James Coburn was born on August 31, 1928, in Laurel, Nebraska. At the age of 65, in 1993, he played the role of Mr. Crisp in the film Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, a rigid, authoritarian figure who embodies opposition to the system. despite his brief appearance. This role marked his quiet return to public life after many years of absence. It demonstrated that Coburn's career was not yet over, despite his deteriorating health. Coburn's marriages reflected both fidelity and loss. His first marriage to Beverly Kelly lasted 20 years before they divorced in 1979 due to frequent separations and his deteriorating health. He subsequently found stability in his marriage to actress Paula Murad, whom he married in 1993. Their marriage was characterized by deep affection, particularly her unwavering support during times of pain and limited mobility. His illness tormented him relentlessly. Severe rheumatoid arthritis weakened Coburn in the 1980s, leading to deformities in his hands, joint deformities, and causing him constant pain, making even standing an ordeal. The disease nearly forced him out of Hollywood until an experimental treatment alleviated the pain and allowed him, albeit still plagued, a remarkable comeback. Sadly, James Coburn passed away on November 18, 2002, at the age of 74, following a heart attack at his home in Beverly Hills. His estimated net worth of approximately $10 million reflects a career he revived despite seemingly insurmountable difficulties. He is buried in Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery and will be remembered not only as a charming Hollywood gentleman but also as someone who suffered silently for years and ultimately demonstrated strength one last time. Barnard Hughes as Father Maurice. Barnard Hughes was born on July 16, 1915, in Bedford Hills, New York. At the age of 78, he played Father Maurice, a gentle, elderly priest who embodied quiet authority and tradition in the film Sister Act 2. Yet his return to the role of a priest in 1993 marked the final chapter of his career. From then on, the story revolves around his life after his retirement. Hughes's marriage stood in stark contrast to the chaos of Hollywood. He married actress Helen Stenborg in 1950, and they lived together for over 5 decades. A rare longevity in such a volatile industry. Their relationship was rooted not in passion, but in perseverance, shared habits, and a quiet understanding born from navigating their careers, wartime memories, and the long-term demands of stage life together. But time is relentless. As he aged, Hughes's strength waned and his body weakened, forcing him to retire from the stage that had so captivated him with over 400 roles, including his Tony Award-winning performance in The Day. Sadly, Barnard Hughes passed away on July 11, 2006, just a few days before his 91st birthday, of natural causes. His estimated fortune was rather modest and stemmed primarily from his theater career, not from blockbuster films. It reflected a life he dedicated to his art, not to luxury.